Good morning, Witta's Wolves. It is Friday, May 15th. Welcome to the end of the 8th week of learning at home virtually. Next week is our last week of learning at home virtually. Can you believe it? And in the next week, we'll be celebrating wrapping up the end of the school year. Hard to believe that we're already here. Well, today's Friday. Where in the world is Mrs. Witta this morning? Actually, where am I in the universe? Well, where was I yesterday? Yesterday, I was on Saturn. Today, I am on a planet that's known as the sideways planet, as you can see. And the reason is because it rotates on its side. It's also known as an ice giant, and it's huge. It is 5 times wider than Earth. Where in the universe is Miss Witta this morning? Well, Friday, you get to choose from choice boards in reading, in math, and science. Have fun choosing those. And I'm going to go ahead and read from The World According to Humphrey. I'm going to reread what I wrote in our Zoom, what I read in our Zoom, because it didn't come across very well. And Aldo talked more and more every night. On Tuesday night, he leaned in close and asked, "Humphrey, do you ever wish you had a girlfriend?" Like most hamsters, I'm pretty much of a loner, so I really hadn't thought about it before. "Not sure," I squeaked.
"I would like one," said Aldo. "A really nice girlfriend."
I felt so sorry for Aldo. I squeaked extra loud when he performed his broom balancing act for me. I was still thinking about him on Wednesday. After everyone had left, while there was still light coming in the window, I meandered outside the cage to help myself to any mealworms that Heidi might have left behind when she fed me earlier that day. The table was covered with newspapers, and while I nibbled, I browsed the news. All of life was there on the pages of the newspaper. Births and deaths, lost pets, sad, 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 funny jokes, good news, and bad news. Then there were the ads. My, there were so many stores. Not just Petorama, but Shoesorama, and Foodorama, and Books Galore, and Wide World of Tools. And there were other ads too. One in particular caught my eye that afternoon. It read, "Work nights? Lonely? Want to meet others who work nights? The Moonlighters Club, for people who work at night. Meetings are held during the day on weekdays. Hikes and outings to restaurants, parks, plays, movies, and much more." There was a name and a phone number at the end. I could hardly believe it. This was exactly what Aldo needed. I could already see him smiling and happy, going to parks and playing with the Moonlighters Club and having a girlfriend. But how could I get Aldo to read this ad? He'd probably just throw it away. Still, if I cut it out and left it in a place where he couldn't miss it, well, maybe. Hamsters can't do scissors, but we have nifty teeth. It took me a while to nibble the whole ad out neatly, but I did a pretty good job. Then I stood the clipping up against my cage. Aldo couldn't help but see it if he looked at me, which he always did. That evening, I was more anxious than usual for Aldo to arrive. When he turned on the lights, I squeaked, "Hello!" right away.
"Greetings to you, my little friend,"
said Aldo as he pushed the cart into the room.
"You sound like you have something on your mind."
"You bet," I tried to tell him. He ambled over to my cage and leaned down to look in.
"What's happening, Humphrey?"
he asked. I saw his eyes light on the scrap of newspaper.
"Hey, I can hardly see you."
He reached out and pushed the clipping aside. "Read it!" I squeaked right out. Of course, he didn't understand. He didn't even look at what the ad said. He just set it down next to the cage and leaned in closer. I was squeaking a blue streak. "Look at it now!"
"Calm down, Humphrey. I've got a treat for you,"
said Aldo. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny bit of carrot.
"Your pal Aldo would never forget you."
My heart sank. You try to help a human and they don't even pay attention. But as you know, I don't give up easily. I squeaked happily while he balanced his broom on one finger, as usual. But my mind was on the Moonlighters Club and how to get Aldo there. After he left, I scrambled out of my cage, picked up the newspaper clipping, and tucked it inside my notebook. Then I hid the notebook behind my mirror. If I didn't, somebody mean, like Mrs. Brisbane, might throw it away. I was still wondering what to do with it the next day when Mrs. Brisbane rolled in a cart with a big machine on it. "This is an overhead projector," she told the class. "I'm going to use it for some map work." When Mrs. Brisbane turned the machine on, a bright light was projected onto the wall. Then she placed a paper map on the glass, and suddenly that map showed up real big on the wall. She could write on it and draw on it, and you could see everything she wrote. A machine like this could come in very handy, I thought. So, when Mrs. Brisbane turned the machine off and sent my classmates off to lunch, I thought about that machine. When AJ cleaned my cage and changed my water and bedding, I thought about that machine. I thought about it so hard, I suddenly came up with a really good plan. But it would be difficult to carry out and dangerous as well. Tip 5. If a hamster manages to escape his cage, you can sometimes lure him back in with a trail of sunflower seeds. Guide to the Care and Feeding of Hamsters, Dr. Harvey H. Hammer. Well, it looks like our planet slipped away, but where in the universe was Mrs. Witta when she started this video? Have a wonderful weekend. I'll look forward to seeing you Monday. Bye.